gates. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. True and false prophets. Watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. It's not a coincidence that this is after the section about the narrow versus the wide gates, right? There's churches everywhere, mosques everywhere, synagogues, other temples, other religions, other groups, okay? And they are coming to you in sheep's clothing. They're pretending to be the way to some kind of spiritual path to heaven, what have you. But inwardly, they are these ferocious wolves that wouldn't hesitate to cheat me out of my rightful place for things of this world, for mere survival, for mere comfort, for their families that they're training and raising to do the same. The wolf and the eagle are symbols of the Roman people, and they are not used differently to this day. Basically, they infiltrate indigenous people and their movements as well. The whole world is astray, but me and my parents are blameless. Now in the Bible, it does compare God to an eagle, but you have to understand who, what, when, where, how, why. Okay, when you see it in terms of the eagle of Rome, the eagle of Babylon, the eagle of America, they're talking about Zeus. They're talking about the devil. Zeus was symbolized by the eagle. Therefore, Baal and Jupiter are also symbolized by the eagle. Now, are they behaving more like someone who worships God and rallying and obeying God through me? Or is the wordplay in America, erratically, Eri meaning the Skywalker, refer to as you persecute me? Right, it alludes to the fact that as you persecute me, America becomes worse and worse. And then when my flesh dies, it's sealed in hell with the rest of the world. Pretty straightforward. Think about it. America. How many questions? Put in the comments. I'm running out of time here. So again, watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. By their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? This is key here. This connects to Genesis, where it says that the ground, right, in Genesis 2 or 3, that the ground is cursed and that it's going to bring up these thistles and these thorn bushes. It's not going to bear good fruit. You know, it's just going to feed the flesh. It's not going to really make it so these people have worthwhile lives because of what Adam and Eve did. The mark of Adam. Adam is also referred to as man. It says Adam or man, and Adama means ground, right? The cursed ground, the cursed, mankind is cursed, right? Okay, the mark of humanity, the mark of a man, the mark of Adam. It's also the mark of Cain. Okay, it's both. It's those who accept the broad path of humanity, the mark of those who follow the governments, the churches, the mosques, the synagogues. They follow other people and instead of following me. And the mark of God, the boundaries of God, are only expressed through my leadership. Everything else is rebellion against God. Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. So what are the fruits of my, good tree? What are the fruits of God through me? Right? I'm the top martial artist ever possible. I have thousands of videos insisting on universal pinpoint and moral precision, even though I'm only getting a few views here and there. Every once in a while I get 30 views, 100 there, 1 or 2 there, 5, 6, okay, and I keep going, like the sun. The sun rises in the morning. Maybe you waste that day, maybe you don't. It does its part. I'm the top martial artist ever possible. 16,000 videos. In like 21 days or so, by the year, I'll have been making videos on YouTube alone for 17 years. I have a song that I've posted when I was 16 years old saying that women want a ball and ignore the deeper call, and I'm done having them stress me, and so on and so forth. So you see that I'm consistently bearing this fruit in the divine order. I keep insisting that they, debate me publicly. They're fleeing from that. People debate each other all the time, but they're fleeing from debating me publicly. They ordered people to shun me. People gang stalk me. The fruit of the bad tree is gang stalking. Where I'm not gang stalking anybody. I'm not running stops on anyone. They're running stops on me. I can go on and on. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. You shouldn't have accepted the boundary of not obeying God through me, especially when people in the occult and neo-Roman cultures are leading it. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. If you don't bear good fruit, regardless of what you think you believe, you're cut down and thrown into the fire with the tree that you follow, the tree of knowledge, the tree of this family or that family, this country, this religion, that religion, what have you. Thus, by their fruits you will recognize them. So let's look at this really briefly here. Judaism, right? Did they accept the Messiah or present a logical counter-argument? No. Bad tree. Catholics, Protestants, Orthodox, did they accept the Messiah, present a logical counter-argument, which can't be done? No, they didn't. They have mere human rules, customs, and traditions. They're all cheating me. We see thousands and thousands of Catholics and Jews and Muslims and Protestants and Orthodox and Amish and on and on and on, and people in cults and New Age and this spiritual movement, this Democrat, that Republican, what have you, libertarians. All of them are cheating me out of my right to lead. And it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Because they're bearing bad fruit, because they're from the tree of evil. The tree of snaking people. To snake means to cheat, and so on and so forth. So I'm almost over time here, so let's wrap this up here. True and false disciples. Okay, again, thus by their fruit you will recognize them, right? Don't forget that part. True and false disciples. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven, right? You have to actually do God's work, versus all these idiots who say that you have faith. And sometimes some idiots say that you need works, but they do not point to obeying God through me, so they're useless. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles? No. That was merely, those were merely magic tricks, psychological tricks, coincidence, what have you. Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers. So my name means that I'm the king of all the martial art principles, God's son, the essence, the gate, the Royal African Falcon, top martial arts. In reality, I'm in the Royal African Falcon, top martial arts spirit, which is the spirit of universal pinpoint and moral precision, which is the spirit of God. And sick scum are trying to confuse us. Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers. Evildoers. Is it evil to cheat me out of my right to lead, whether you know it's wrong or not? Yes. Whether you know you're doing it or not? Yes. Is it evil to, abuse people after your families have had generations to understand what is and isn't abusing people? Yes. And so on and so forth. And this leads to the next section, the wise and foolish builders. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock, on this spiritual rock, on this martial art, lateral movement, this dodge, agile, on this rock. Who build the spiritual army of God, not a mere worldly church. And of course, after my flesh dies, it can't be done. And the martial art order continues in the spiritual realm with God, and people here are cut off. And that's what Genesis is about big time. It's about what happens when you keep going down the wrong path every generation, right? 3 generations of complete idiots is enough, so to speak. But they kept reproducing evil. They kept rebelling. They kept insisting on tribalism and ethnocentrism and just trying to survive and being far away from me and so on and so forth. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. Right? So again, therefore everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. Now earlier in this series, I pointed out that they used the word, or mist. They used the word mist interchangeably with stream. So in Babylon mystery, when they tried to cover things up, it didn't stop the righteous from finding their way. But you kept building on evil. You kept moving in the direction of evil. You kept grouping together in terms of cheating me out of my right to lead. So when the end came, you weren't prepared. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice like a foolish man who built his house on sand, or sets territory, builds territory, a deed of rape, of evil, of sand, of snakes, of hippos, of turtles, of boars, of jackals, what have you. And the principles of evil. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew, beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. When Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, because he taught as one who had authority, not as their teachers of the law, right? The fruit of having authority. So I teach in the midst of my enemies, like the Bible says, rule in the midst of your enemies, which means they're going to be persecuting, right? All who wish to live a godly life in Christ Jesus will be persecuted. If they persecuted me, they'll persecute you. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So you see the fruit of exerting authority through persecution. They're fuming, causing me to stumble on my words, but I still go forward strong, while their tail tucked on the broad path like a dumb broad, follies in the heart of a child, follies an unruly woman, etc.